All right, welcome back everyone to StarCraft Underground. We have our winners bracket semifinals going on right now, and this is going to be, hold on, let me fix the best of three down there. Medic Jr. in the bottom left is our blue Terran, and Main in the top right as our yellow-orange, I'm going to say that's orange, our orange Protoss. Now, both these players have been doing a phenomenal job. Medic Jr., I think we recently casted him as well on the channel, so there's some gameplay. And then Main, I know that she's been on here as well. And both these players have just been on an undefeated streak through this StarCraft 2 tournament, and have finally met each other in this bracket. Now, the winner will go to the finals and will automatically secure a spot in the level 2, right? So in StarCraft Underground, as you win in the initial brackets, you can go forward into like the level 2, right? And so that way, this is kind of like its internal mechanism of being able to play against people your own skill level. And so whoever makes it to the finals does get that. And then the loser will go to the losers round 4, which is essentially the losers bracket semifinals, right? And have a second opportunity to fight back and get into the finals. Now, the benefit of reaching the finals from the winners bracket, so the winner of this match, for example, will be able to start with a one map win in the best of 5 series, right? So let's say, for example, let's say Main wins. She would start with a 1-0 record once the finals kicked off. So definitely worth trying to get a win, especially since the way that this double elimination match works, uh, and the fact that both these players have been in the winners bracket, there's definitely an opportunity that there could be a rematch potential, right? So like someone gets knocked to the losers bracket and then they win that losers bracket round 4. Uh, this would be basically a repeat engagement. So definitely want to be able to have that map win. All right, Medic JR, Medic Jr. Still trying to decide how I'm going to call him. Is coming across with a Reaper. And that is going to be shoot away by this Adept. We'll see if that shade goes through. I think it will. Yeah, probably going to get this Reaper. Ooh, come on. I guess not. The Reaper is going to keep running and it is going to survive. Meanwhile, Main's probe is over here doing its best against this reactor, and we do have the 1-1-1. Now, we've seen Medic JR in the past has been very heavy on Ravens, right? Doesn't really seem to matter on the matchup, at least between Terran and Protoss. We've always seen him go like straight to Raven. So we've also generally seen Hellion come out here as well. So it does go Widow Mine, which leads me to believe potentially we might be seeing a Widow Mine drop, right? So now that this is complete, we do see the Medevac come up, and we'll be getting a drop there. Does opt to build the CC up on the high ground. We'll probably make that into an orbital command and float it down to the natural. But with the immediate rally, maybe not. Maybe he'll float it first and then get that transformation going. So we do see Hallucinated Phoenix coming from Main. She's going to know everything that's going on over in Medic Jr.'s base. We do see a Twilight Council, so we might be seeing a lot of Blink Stalkers coming out. Also getting a robotics facility up and running as well. So both players teching up, charging up, securing their naturals. And we do have Cloak. So instead, we're going to be having Cloak Banshee. Now, we do have the drop going off here. It does look like no Widow Mines, right? So this is pure Marine. 6 Marines in the medevac. We do have a Stalker hanging out, prepared for a potential drop. Pylon going down here leads me to believe there might be a shield battery in the near future. And that Stalker is going to get eyes on. Boosting with the medevac. 6 Marines will be able to deal with this. Nice warp in of a couple more Stalkers, though, and 3 Stalkers and these Adepts. Like that will clean this up. We'll see if Medic JR can get these Marines out of here, but the medevac goes down, and so these Marines are going to all be cleaned up. And minimal to no probe damage, really. I think he got 1 Adept. Yeah, and he's even saying right there, he forgot to bring the mine. I'm a little surprised that the mine wasn't included in there. So it does seem like it was just an oversight. A couple more barracks going down. Imagine these will end up with probably, tech labs. Start getting the Marauder production up and running. We do have that shield battery that I mentioned going up in the mineral line for main. A forage as well. So do have an observer on the field. Currently sit rallied at the natural, while main is taking her third. Overall, pretty even, right? I would say, Medic JR's drop being kind of as unsuccessful as it was, maybe he's in a slight military deficit compared to main, but we'll see. Factory's going to move. These barracks are going to lift off and end up on these tech labs. We'll probably see a quick stim, maybe concussive shells getting researched. Third CC is on the way. Medic opting to build it down here. I see a lot of times players build it up here, but he might be using it to, well, I don't know. Doesn't really seem to matter too much. Okay, so these stalkers are coming over way, and we don't see the observers, so this mine is going to get some damage off, right? So immediately schwacks one of these stalkers. Stalkers are going to kill the Reaper, but with the tanks and the Marines, these are all going to get wiped. Wow, there was no blink, there was no nothing. Those stalkers just ran up and died, and now we have the Banshees on the other side of the map killing these probes. Now, with two of them, you can get kind of that double rally, or I'm sorry, double volley to kill a probe, but with the shield battery, it does make it a whole lot more challenging. Stalker's blinking. Still the observer just out of range, and these guys are going to have to wait for their blink to recharge. More stalkers being warped into the main. And you can see the effect of this shield battery, right? Like that would have been like 5, 6 dead probes if that shield battery wasn't there. Still doing a lot of damage, though. And that Banshee does go down. So both Banshees do go down thanks to the observers and the Stalker play. So we do have a 2-tank and bio push going across the map for Medic. Medic also macroing up, getting another orbital command and 2 barracks. And you can see the upgrades here, right? We've cast this before with Medic JR. He likes to do this 2-tank bio push right as these upgrades are about to come online, which is very, very powerful. There's a nice opportunity with like an upgrade advantage at this point in the game. And I guess in this observer mode, we can't really see the upgrades that exist for everyone. At least in like +1 or whatever. All right, tanks are getting set up. Marines Marauder. Now with the Colossus out, this seems like a pretty even fight. I think it's going to come down to a lot of micro and whether these tanks can survive. The Stalkers blinking in are going to be knocking these tanks out. And I don't think... Oh, but the Widow Mine's in. Wow. The Marauder and Marine do take out the Colossus. And now Medic Jr. has a foothold here in the natural of Maine. I don't know if she has enough to take it. Now, the Zealots do get up in the face. They do take the Widow Mine shots, and the Stalkers are back here, but there's no battery, right? Like, I'm not seeing the battery. The battery was taken out earlier by the Banshees and not remade, so there it is now, but a little too late, in my opinion. I think that was really unfortunate that it wasn't around, and the Colossus does come out, but a Colossus without any fodder in front of it does go down quickly, as we just saw. So, Zealots are coming out. They are slashing and mincing up this Bio Army a little bit. The medevac energy is about out, so you can see, the Marines and Marauders are getting really low in health. So I don't know if this is going to be game ending, but there's a whole stream of Marines and Marauders being stimmed across the map to catch up with this force. And Main, she opts to GG. So awesome game 1, right? It was a very powerful push by Medic JR. That timing is just so strong, and I think, I'd be curious to maybe replay that with a shield battery not having gone down. I think those Banshees that killed that shield battery are kind of like the hidden MVP of that match. Okay, so round 2, we are on torches. Let me fix this. I always forget to fix the score down here, but fixed it up. And we do have Medic JR in the bottom right, blue Terran, main, orange Protoss, top right. Now, last time in the beginning, we saw a little bit of Reaper harass that got pushed back by an Adept. We saw Hallucinated Phoenix come and get the full scout. And then basically Blink Stalkers from the Protoss, and just kind of standard 2-tank push from Medic. So I'm curious to see where we deviate from that going into this next round. Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit. There we go. And whether or not the players have any type of cheese or anything that they're going to mix it up with. We'll also see if Medic tries to do a Widow Mine drop this time and bring a Widow Mine. All right, both players sending in their scouting worker. Both are going to identify that there's really nothing crazy going on. Both players are opting to play pretty standard. We'll see if this SCV blocks this Nexus at all. Nope, no block. This Nexus, well, actually, more minerals were spent elsewhere. Okay, yeah, Cybernetics Core first, then Nexus. And we'll have Medic Junior's CC built now in the natural as opposed to up top and floated down. We have the worker slap fight going on. And both of them simultaneously are like, not feeling it. See you later. And that's likely because this Reaper is going to knock this out on the way. Holy crap. Oh, okay. The Reaper was like, wait a minute. I forgot to do something. Oh, yeah, that's right. Kill this probe. Stalker is out, which means that this Reaper is going to get close to little to nothing done. What is this? Another barracks? Okay, so this is a deviation. All right, so we're seeing Medic Junior opt for 3 barracks instead of going for like a factory after the first barrack. So instead of going 1-1-1, we're seeing 3 barracks go down. We're having the bunker, which we also didn't see last time. But for main, she's doing the same thing that she did last time. Command Center upgrading to Orbital. Tech Lab. Yeah. Really not a whole lot to say. Reaper hanging back after not getting much done. We are having an early stim researched. Now, this is going to be a stim without medevac support, right? So if this ends up being kind of an early heavy bio push, that's something we're going to have to be cognizant of and something that we're going to want to pay attention to as Medic pushes across the map is when he's using those stims. Like, it's still powerful based on just the timing of it all, especially with main going so tech heavy and kind of like building up and macroing out the production structures. But if you overstim too much, it could be really detrimental without, a medevac there to replenish that HP. And I'm curious to see when he'll push, right? So he's got 2 Marauders. I wonder if the 2 Marauders popping out will be the trigger, or if he's going to allow these upgrades to finish and then trigger it upon like the beginning of concussive shells being researched. Looks like he's getting his whole army kind of rallied down here by the bunker. He's pulling the Marines from that and going across. Now, I wonder if Medic Jr., if the intent here is to end the game or just do a bunch of damage. And I think some of the indicators of that is how he's teching behind, right? Like he's still building SCVs, he's getting his factory up. So I don't think this is actually intended. Like the expectation isn't to maybe end the game. Cool if it does. But he's still trying to build up behind it. And I think that makes sense. So going over here with the Reaper, double check on where third bases are going to be located. And we do have the initial engagement going off. Now, there's so many stalkers here, right? I don't think there's going to be much getting done. And you're seeing the effects here of stim without medevacs, right? So we saw 1 stim go off across the whole batch as he was about to run in. But now we have a bunch of bruised bio. And instead of getting concussive shells, he does opt to get +1 weapons. So it does mean, he got an engineering bay down there at some point. And good thing that he had this bunker here. This is going to help hold off, and also, you know, depending on micro, you can kind of swap out healthy and hurt ones, right? That's something you can do. Now, Blink is up for the Stalkers. We have a Warp Prism out to kind of warp in reinforcements, and I think Main has the opportunity here. She can get a lot done, right? Like, this is pretty tough. And again, there's no medevac support. Now, the starport is going down. Also have concussive shells being resurged, and that's a very quick upgrade too. That'll be done here in just a second. But Main is getting a third, right? So Main's getting a third. Main has our Terran player kind of contained at their natural, and is just going to be coming up here continuously and getting picks on bunkers and Marines and Marauders. I think the turning point here is going to be when these medevacs can pop out. Okay, Main opting to play a little bit conservatively, does retreat just a bit. Now, I don't know if that's because the observer saw the starport and maybe there's a concern about drops, maybe there's a concern about tanks, maybe there's just the desire to regroup because shields and health were a little bit low. But it does look like Main is all over the place with regard to just looking for stuff, right? So backs up, sends the Warp Prism out here just to the north of Medic's base, leaves the Stalkers to push the natural, and we're going to have a dual-pronged assault, right? So Stalkers coming in, they're going to hit this bunker. It is going to go down and is going to be taking the brunt of the fight against the Bioforce. Now, it does blink away, and at the same time, drops Stalkers here in the mineral line, and we're going to start seeing worker kills get racked up here, right? And I don't know where the little marker is. Normally that worker kill marker pops up right here on the screen. I'll have to double check the hotkeys and see what's missing there. Or Prism just hanging out. It is going to have to go away. Stalkers also retreating, but a good poke, right? Like going in there, continuously knocking down these bunkers, keeping the bio army at bay, and also getting some War Prism harass. Solid. This observer is also going unnoticed, and as a Terran player, I feel this in my bones, right? There's always an observer somewhere, and it's so funny because you always have scans, right? Like you can always scan this, but I know I just never see the blip, right? Especially when they're stationary like that. If they can get snuck in the middle of a fight, then they usually just sit there and provide valuable intelligence the entire game. All right, man, she's getting her army all set up. Has a Colossus now, immortal as well. Opting to keep the main force that's forward Stalkers, right? That way you can kind of blink back after seeing kind of a push like this. Now, does blink back, is going to retreat to the Zealots, Colossus immortal. All the while, Warp Prism hanging out over here in the bottom left corner. I also just want to note, like, during that contain, Main was not remaining idle, right? Main is sitting on 4 bases to Medic JR's 2. And Medic is going to be sending in a medevac with a drop. I was going to say, is this an Artosis pylon? It's not. There is another pylon over here. And does seem to just be kind of hitting the spread of these buildings. Main is taking the opportunity to kind of push the rest of the army out of the way. And is also moving probes out of the main down to the natural while warping in Zealots. So I think, I mean, these Zealots are going to get kind of schwacked, but Main is deciding, okay, hey, check it out. I'm just going to go straight to your base. And does exactly that. And I don't see any tanks anywhere, which would be, you know, pretty helpful for this ramp, but does almost take out the Colossus. Now, meanwhile, these Marines are still doing work, right? The Cybernetics score has gone down. Twilight Council has gone down. All these gateways are going down. I would say right now, like, that's a pretty big deal for Medic Jr. to be knocking out those production structures. Having to rebuild the forges, I'm wondering if that means that there's going to be like a couple cannons thrown down, or if he's just, or if she's just going to be going for, you know, getting those upgrades up and running. And Main's not completely out of it, right? Like, she has all these gateways up here, all these down here. The biggest thing that went down was the Cybernetics core, I think. And the Twilight. But already had Warp Gate researched. Now, Shield Battery, kind of same situation that we saw last game with the Banshees. is just doing such a solid job of keeping these probes alive. Now, Army does come back here to fight this off, and Medic Jr. is going to be taking that opportunity to stim straight across the map, right? So here's a big engagement about to happen. I'm curious to see if this Nexus is going to survive. A lot of these Marines, you know, stimmed to oblivion, and the medevac just doesn't have very much energy, right? Now, a second medevac does come up with energy. Only a few Vikings to start picking off these Colossi. And this is going to be repelled by Maine, okay? So she pushes that army back. I really want this Colossi to go back to this shield battery. And the Nexus did go down, though, right? But in the meantime, Maine has another Nexus being built up here in the top left corner. So still doing just fine. And when it comes to worker count, Maine is still at, you know, has a lead. 71 workers to 54 medics. Army supply about the same. Medic Jr. starting to get a more sophisticated army. Vikings, more Vikings in production. We do see Ghost and whatever the heck that thing's called. What's it called? Fusion Core. Thank you. And the Fusion Core going down. So likely to see Ghost play. Maybe battle cruisers. We'll see if battle cruisers make it onto the field or if he's looking for the upgrades from the Fusion Core. Probably battle cruisers, though. Everyone loves a good battle cruiser. Okay, we're having two big pushes. Now, whenever this kind of swirl happens, right, like one army goes around one way, the other one goes around the other, I always feel like the Protoss has a bit of advantage because the Protoss can sit there and fight, and then as soon as they decide, oh, maybe things aren't going my way, this base trade isn't really going the speed that I want it to go, they can always recall. Huge warp in here. Not opting to knock out this pylon. That would have been pretty good. Okay, it does go down. All those zealots go away. And we're having the army from Maine beeline it back. And Medic Jr. getting a really good pick on that base. Just annihilated everything. Does even up the worker count as well. Killed a lot of probes. That must have been like 20 probes that went down. So I think earlier on, like, Maine had a pretty significant advantage, but I would say Medic Jr. has fought his way back into this match. This base likely to go down. And now we have Libs. Libs are on the field. That is going to be helpful to help start denying space, continuous harass. You've noticed, you know, Stalker population hasn't really been staying that high for Maine. But she has a ton of Colossi, and we're at the point where a lot of this bio army is about to get smoked. Colossus does go down, and all that remains for that army is that lone Archon. Now we have more gateway units coming in, trying to secure the third base here. Fourth base does go up for Maine, and Medic Jr. is branching out onto the map here as well. Medic just rallying troops across the field. We do have ghosts on the field now. And you know, we saw this Archon, but I didn't notice any like storms going off before the Archon was formed. Oh man, these libs they're really hurting. And here comes the ghosts leading the way. I think an EMP went off. It might have just been damage. Oh man. Main goes down. Now, did I screw this up? Did Medic not have that win? I don't remember. Yeah, I might have messed that up because there is a game 3. So, whoops, that whole game, I had the score completely wrong. But this game, I'll have it right because we are going into game 3, which means both players have one win. These M's, the M names, that's what's screwing me up. All right, so game 3, the last game of this series. This is a best of 3 series. We have Lost Fantasy. Lost Fantasy is a 3-player map. And down here in the 7 o'clock position, we have Medic JR, our blue Terran, and Main, our orange Protoss. Yeah, sorry about that. Medic Main, if you're watching, apologize for the mess up there on your score for the entirety of the second round. think I was just a little confused. Also, while we're waiting for things to start getting exciting, I'm trying to fix the audio. Some of the videos I've been uploading, I feel like my audio sounds really fuzzy, that you're not able to hear the game audio. And I've changed mics. This one seems to be a little bit clearer. Unfortunately, you hear a bunch of like little sounds, right? Like if I sit back in my chair, the clicking of my mouse, I think some of those things kind of pop up. So I'll work through it, but let me know if there's any crazy audio issues that you're noticing, and I'll try to address them. So Medic Jr. is going to be able to scout on his first try where Main is. Main, her probe has gone up to the 11 o'clock position and realizes that Medic Jr. is down here in the bottom left. Medic Jr. going to see the same old Gateway Cybernetics Core. Now, a deviation here is Medic is... Normally, you have a CC by the time you build that second depot, right? So we are seeing a variation in Medic's build again, which I love seeing. I love that Medic has all these different Terran builds, and as a Terran player myself, I like to take and pick from some of these things I'm learning. But Main, she's gonna see all this, right? So that wall was not done in time, and it definitely wouldn't have been if Main had scouted here first. But is going to notice that, like, oh, hey, we've got a factory going down, and there's no expansion. And even just a factory at this time would be very challenging with an expansion, maybe being put down up here in the corner or something. So going for an early factory, Main is continuing with the same similar style of build that we've seen in the past from her. This time going with, standard normal Adept opening. This Adept is going to come down here and shoo away this Reaper. We'll see if the Reaper pops back up. Like if this shades out, we'll see if the Reaper kind of like steers up here. Nah, Reaper just runs back. We do finally have the command center going down after the 111 as well. But I'm curious to see what he does with this early factory. So it does look like we're going Widow Mines. We'll get a Widow Mine drop. We saw kind of like an attempt of that in game 1. But game 2, we didn't really see Widow Mines hit the field. Reaper dies. I don't think he killed any probes. Twilight Council going down. Probably see Blink get researched. The Shade over here is going to see the wall off. I like that mine placement too. And then we do have the Tech Lab going up. Okay, so the Tech Lab is going to be for the Starport, I believe. And we'll see if he ends up going Banshees after he gets this medevac out. Or if we'll see if he goes Ravens. I know I brought that up, that he likes to go Ravens. We didn't see that yet. All right, Phoenix is going to see everything. Phoenix is even going to see this drop heading out with what was picked up in it. CC is going to land down here. There's nothing back here, so if this Adept feels like it can go in there and probably start killing some SCVs. A couple seconds until these Marines and that Banshee pop out. Yeah. I'll hang out here for a second. We can watch this. Yeah, but preemptive Shade, just in case there was a tank or something, is going to get ASCV and then pop over here and call it good. Now this drop is heading in. Now there's a decent force here ready for it, but this time there's going to be a mine, right? So this is the drop that we were expecting to see game 1. Targets down the medevac immediately. A few probes do go down though. So no probe, reaction there. And this time also no shield battery. Probably see a shield battery go down in the main after that drop as kind of a reaction and a precaution for future ones. But it looks like we have a nice standard game, nice standard build-up going on now. Immortal production underway. More Banshees being made. I think after the second Banshee, he'll likely probably lift this and go back into medevac production. And we also have a safety tank this time. No safety tank on the game number 2. And another tank actually being made. Gateway explosion, forge, Robotics Bay. Wondering if we're going to see a lot of Colossi again coming from Maine. We do have Blink being researched. And a third base going down. Now, a whole bunch of building swaps going on. We have Stim being upgraded. Banshees are going to move out, but the Adept's going to see it. Right? I think it's just, yeah, straight up watching it happen. We'll see what reaction comes up here. We do have the Observer and some Stalkers coming up here to fend that off. A lot more gateways going down. And there's the battery. I was wondering if there was going to be a battery placed, just because it's so helpful. Now with the Observer here, this Cloak's going to mean nothing, and these Stalkers are going to shoot this away. Probably kill one. I don't think Blink's done yet. Blink's not done yet. Ooh. Almost, but both of those are super weak now. So they weren't able to get anything done. Maine doing a great job of shutting down that harass. We've got Stim, Shields, +1 weapons underway. And another heavy bio play coming out. Now, the factory did go on the reactor, so we're going to be seeing a lot more mines this game. And a third base being constructed up in the high ground. Now, the Banshees aren't going to sit idle. They're going to go look around for thirds. Now, that Cloak, really unfortunate timing there. I think those sentries probably could have just knocked that out. But bringing the Stalkers up, blinking forward, getting one. And then the second Banshees. Oh, its Cloak ran out too. Or it was deactivated. No Observer over here either. Okay, and the second Banshee goes down. Now, we have a big push. 2-tank push. We have the Stim, we have the combat shields, we have the +1 weapons, and we have some Widow Mines. Now, this Observer did just barely catch the tail end of that. We're going to see an army maneuvering right behind Medic JR. Now, Medic probably sees this. Oh, but comes right in. First volley does eliminate one tank and forces the siege on another. So that's going to buy precious time to get another Warp in, to get another Colossi out. And there's no Vikings on the field or anything as of yet. And these Zealots are going to soak up, a tank shot. And okay, very good defense there from Maine. As Maine's army just kind of chases these Marines, but stimmed Marines Marauder in the speed zones, they can hoof it. So they just boogied right on back home. Third base is up and almost saturated for Medic. And he's just going straight to Macro Town, right? We're getting Vikings up. He saw the Colossi tech. Getting tons of Marines, tons of Marauders, getting his upgrades. And Maine is taking a fourth. Cool. So this reminds me a lot of the last game. But I think Medic is doing a lot better after the early game, right? So last game, Medic kind of, I think, struggled in the early game against Maine, and then came back. In this game, it seems like a much more even footing. Another CC about to go down. We're going to double starport. Both players just trying to take their portion of the map, get economic leads. +1 ground weapons. I think that's the Colossus upgrade, right? Thermal Lance, or whatever it's called. And that's going to be pretty huge against this Bioforce. But the Vikings have hit the field, right? So the Stalkers are going to have to start knocking down these Vikings. Otherwise, they are just going to make quick work of these Colossus. Good engagement by Medic. Doing a really good job of keeping pretty much everything alive. Now, big blink forward does take out a bunch of this bio. These Colossi are just doing absolute work. And with the Zealots coming in too, this is going to be forced away. Getting a couple Marauders on the retreat. Very helpful there. Wow. Okay, so once the army is paused, the medevacs are able to start recharging. But when those medevacs are move commanding with the infantry, like they just can't heal. Wow, that was just a straight up GG. Hold on. Oh, I didn't see this warp prism. Yeah, the warp prism combined with this army. Because at first I was like, the army supply is not terrible for medic, but I actually don't see where it all is. I guess it's all taken up in this. All right, well, very cool. That's going to be main taking this round 2-1, and that is going to earn main a shot in the finals and an automatic level up into level 2. So I think the next one that I will upload will be the loser bracket round 4, aka the loser bracket semifinals. So we'll be able to see medic again, and then we'll get to see the finals and how that goes after that. All right, well, that'll be it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and see you guys later.